I'm Lauren, and I'm going to show you the assistive technology devices I made for Joey. One of them, this was probably the most fun, is the Talking Picture Board app. Now, I obviously did not create this app. However, you can download it onto an iPad mini for only $1.99. Very useful for teachers who don't have a lot of money, and for schools that have tight budgets. And it's incredibly useful. So, here it is in its glory. This is the home screen. It has various categories: animals, food, people, colors, zoo, vegetables, family, shapes, birds, fruits, body, numbers, water, snacks, touchscreen, feelings, alphabet, insects, drinks, baby, actions, plants, household, clothing, positions, outdoors, kitchen, music, opposites, nature, bathroom, toys, tools, farm, medical, sports, vehicles, beach, electronics, games, traffic, my pictures, dictionary, school office, buildings, saved, different words, and type and talk. So I will explain the most basic function of this first. Oh, wait, yes. So this is connected to a Bluetooth ZAG keyboard, which is a tiny little keyboard that you simply sync with your device and then place near it, and it will automatically sync for the rest of eternity. Now, why is this important, you might ask? Well, if you have ever tried to use a touchscreen on an iPad mini and tried to type into it, it's nearly impossible because the keyboard that shows up takes up 3/4 of the screen. So then you cannot see the text before or after what you typed. And if you're a person with poor coordination, such as a child with cerebral palsy, you find your fingers sliding from one letter to the other, and you end up typing random things, and then spell check corrects them until they are completely unrecognizable. Therefore, it is better instead to use this lovely little keyboard. This keyboard is very, very useful because there's enough space between each letter so that you can type. And if you don't have the motor coordination to use 1 or 2 fingers, you take this. You take a Sharpie, shove it in a pair of rolled up socks, and tape it to hold it steady, and then you use it as a stylus to type. And this works wonderfully. It's much faster than I thought it would be, and it's pretty comfortable. Your hand doesn't get a cramp nearly as quickly holding this thing as it does holding a regular pencil or typing. So, very useful for little Joey. And you can also change the sock size depending on the hand of the person using it. For example, with a small child, I might use a child's socks. For my hand, I'm using my socks. If I were doing this for my husband, I would maybe use 3 of his socks because he has bigger hands and needs more to grasp. Efficient and cheap. So, let's get back to the main course of this video. I am going to demonstrate how to use the main function, which is the PEX function of this lovely, lovely talking picture board. Now, let's say I am a small child named Joey who wants to make a sentence. I first click on this little bubble. This bubble makes my sentence strip. So I might say, let's see, I want to talk about a little boy doing something. I'll go to people, and then I'll type boy.
Boy.
Boy, you hear that speech output? Wonderful. Then I go back to home, right here in the corner. Boy. Boy feels
Excited.
excited. Boy excited. The boy feels excited. Why is he excited? Let's go back to the home screen. Snacks. Boy excited.
Pretzel.
Pretzel. Boy excited pretzel. And then if I want to, let's see if I can get a better shot. Not really. If I want to read the whole sentence out loud to someone and I have poor articulation due to cerebral palsy, I simply click this icon.
Boy. Excited. Pretzel.
And makes a sentence for me. And if I want to delete just one single icon to put in a different one, like let's say I didn't mean to press pretzel, I meant to press candy, I click this backspace, Gets rid of pretzel. Then I put in
candy.
candy. And then if I want to do away with the whole sentence, I click this X that is next to the backspace arrow. Whole sentence gone. Now maybe I just want to request pie.
Pie.
Great. Let's say now I'm done with requesting. I click this little X in the speech bubble. All gone. And maybe I want to go back to the home screen now so that I can talk about something else while I have all these other categories of things that I can talk about. Isn't that lovely? But sometimes I may come to an issue where there's a word that I want to say, but there's no picture for it, and maybe I know some sight words or I have some sounding out skills. So let's go to this. You have words here that are provided for you. And, any, none, some, all, and, most, not, the, there, things like this. High frequency words that children often use in their simple speech, and this can also easily be added to the sentence strip up top. Now let's go back to the home screen. And maybe I want to, let's see, maybe I want to tell my friends about something that I did that day. Something really cool, and there's no pictures for it. I can't exactly tell them a dog licked my brother's face and my brother peed his pants. So I can take pictures on the iPad, which I will not demonstrate for you right now due to lack of lighting. But I can take pictures on the iPad and save it into my pictures. And then, from there, I can very, very easily point to the picture to show my friends the really funny scene that I just described. Cancel, please. Thank you. Now, there may be times in my career as a school child when I don't know a word. The teacher asks me to look up a word, and I might not have the coordination to use those tiny little pocket dictionaries that they give me. Luckily, there's a dictionary right here on my app. And I can press on different letters and then scroll to find which word I'm looking for. This can also help me with spelling. If I'm looking for a word and I don't know how to spell it, I can just type in the first few letters and then scroll until I find it. Now, of course, in this case, Joey is in a Spanish immersion classroom, which means he can't use this particular voice output or type the English words. However, he is going to be raised in a culture and in a family that speaks English. And so those, once he's out of this kindergarten Spanish immersion classroom, are going to be his primary communication partners. He needs to be able to easily communicate with his mom and his grandma and the neighbor next door and whoever else. If they can't understand him due to his articulation issues, he needs a speech output device in English. And it is the responsibility of teachers to teach your children holistically. So therefore, even though it's a Spanish immersion classroom, his teachers have a duty for the sake of the child's communication to teach him how to use this communication device in English. Even if he's not allowed to use the speech output function in the Spanish classroom and is only allowed to use the pictures in the Spanish classroom, it'll help him. He needs to be able to speak in English to his family. So how would I use this if I were Joey and I wasn't allowed to speak in English in the Spanish-speaking classroom? Well, first, I would have to turn off the sound on the iPad, and then that way I would end up, instead of using this as a speech-generating device, as essentially PECs on an iPad, which certainly beats struggling to communicate. So, let's try. Let's turn off the sound. The sound is over here. Oh dear, you can't see that. We turn down the sound, volume is off. Alrighty. Now I want to talk about, I want to talk about la música, music. Now, I bet you Joey can't read a lot yet because he's only in kindergarten, so the fact that this says music on it in English isn't going to make much of an effect right now. However, in time he will learn to associate that word with music, which will help him learn how to read in his native language, which is what he will need for the rest of his life. So, if I were Joey and I had this off, what I would do is I would touch music while trying to say la música in Spanish. And then I would tap on the instrument. If I were Joey and I did not know the word for the instrument, I would just touch it. If I were Joey and I did know the word for the instrument, in addition to touching it, I would also attempt to say it in Spanish, because that way his articulation can improve. It will only improve with practice. And the ultimate goal is that he be able to communicate anywhere and everywhere. So we are hopeful that with speech therapy, that Joey will be able to communicate everywhere, with or without a communication device. So, why not? Anyway, next we go back. Oh, let me show you this. For every single category, whether it be insects, plants, household, whatever category you pick, there's a games section right down here, this little icon. You touch games, and it has different games that will allow you to essentially improve your vocab. So it says yes, no, vases. Is this correct? Let's say I click yes. Now there's a speech output thing going on right now. I should turn that back on, because this is something that Joey would not be doing during school hours. He'd be doing this at home for fun or in his leisure time. So you see, when I click no, there's not much of a negative reaction, nothing to take down a child's self-esteem. When I click yes,
Yes, good. These are vases.
wonderful, these are vases. I've expanded my vocabulary. Let's click next.
Light bulb. Is this right? Yes, good job. This is a light bulb.
So if Joey chooses to, he can play any variety of these games, and he can click the back arrow to go back. He can maybe choose a different game. Maybe that one's boring. Maybe he wants to play Balloon Fly. Oh my goodness, what is this?
Sofa, light bulb, window, bookshelf, door, desk, window, bed, key, stairs, bookshelf.
Now, wouldn't that just be so much fun if you were a child who liked bright colors? And would it also help your coordination if you had to poke things all the time and use those fine motor skills? I think it would. Let's go back to the home screen. And now let's say Joey's getting to that advanced stage where maybe a few years from now he's in 3rd grade, he's in an English-speaking classroom, and he's finally allowed to use this lovely function, type and talk. Type and talk I really like. I think Joey will use this a lot more when he gets older. It allows you to basically type and speak. So let's say I'm Joey. Sorry, I can't get a good view of the keyboard and of the screen at the same time due to lack of lighting in this place. So I want to say, hi, my name is Joey. H-I space M-Y space N-A-M-E space I-S space Joey. Hi. Alright. Now, let's do English Ireland, just for fun. We'll make it slow and high-pitched. Is the sound still off? No. Okay, I can't believe this. I forgot how to make it work. Dear Lord, have mercy. What is wrong here? What is wrong? Why is it not speaking? Normally it talks. But something's been wrong with my iPad for the past few days. So we're gonna just pause the video and figure this out, and then I'll show you. Okay? Great. Perfect timing. So, the problem has been solved. What happened was I forgot to press enter after typing in the phrase. So, this means that when Joey's teachers are teaching him how to use this device, or when his mom is having him use it at home to work on his English spelling or whatever, she should make sure to mention that he has to press enter if he wants voice output. And she should really emphasize it, because I am 22 and have used this device multiple times and still forgot. Alright, now to show you. So, I am Joey again. I have my lovely little sock stylus. I'm going to say I eat cake. I space E-A-T space C-A-K-E. Enter.
I eat cake.
I eat cake. Let's say I want to repeat it.
I eat cake.
You can also add a phrase. And then that means, let me get you a better view of the screen. Is that even possible? You can sort of see here. Here is phrases saved, meaning I can type in I eat cake, and then click add a phrase, then it goes into the phrases saved. So then I can click on it.
I eat cake.
And say it whenever I want. So if I have a phrase that I commonly say, like let's say I have some inside joke about Poogle fairies and sock puppets, I can type in something like, the Poogle fairies have taken over the bathroom, if that's my inside joke and if people understand what I mean, and people in my family would understand what I meant. I can type in the Poogle fairies have taken over the bathroom, click add phrase, and then all that I have to do for the rest of my life, if I want to say that, I just go to type and talk, click on that particular phrase, and it will say it, and then people can laugh away at my joke. It also might be a good way to use your manners, like your please and thank you. You can have them saved there, along with, I don't know, common responses to things. If your teacher says do this and you say no, and you don't want to have to search through multiple layers of pictures, you can just have it in a type and talk and then click no. Maybe it's a little easier. Now, for the one which I took special pride in, this is my assistive technology device. This one took a lot of brain power to come up with. Sticky tack. Sticky tack has many uses. It is most commonly used to stick pictures to walls. And then when your picture is stuck to the wall, you just kind of leave it there for years and years and years, and when you peel it off, it doesn't dry off. I mean, it's not dried up. For example, my grandma died when I was 12, and she hung some pictures in her house, where my grandpa continued to live until I was about 20. And When I lived with my grandpa, after he died, I had to clear out the stuff. And I took off some of the pictures only to find that the sticky tack that my grandma had put there from before I was 12 was still malleable. Amazing. Amazing. Sticky tack will stay beautifully malleable for years if you keep it clean. Now, a little kindergartner isn't going to keep this ball of sticky tack clean, but that's okay, because it's not very expensive. So let's say I am Joey, and I have poor coordination, my fine motor skills don't work very well, and I want to read a book. I want to read a book just like all of my friends, because having things like, I don't know, having a friend turn the pages in your book, that's awkward. Having the teacher turn the pages in your book, that's even more awkward. Or when you are doing your math in your little workbook and the wind blows and your page flips and the teacher doesn't notice, you're stuck because you can't grip the pages. That's a mess. Joey doesn't need to go through all of that. So what we're going to do for Joey is give him a ball of sticky tack. Now, please excuse my use of the floor. I don't own a table. Sorry. So let's say I am Joey. Ideally, I'm sitting at a table. I want to turn the page in my book. I have my sticky tack sitting by me. I pick it up like this, just by sticking my hand to it. Then I stick it on the page and turn the page. Then I do it again. And again. Doing so does not at all require me to use my fine motor skills. All I have to do is go like this and this. Wonderful. And the amount of sticky tack you need depends on the hand size. This is how much you need for a 5-foot-tall, 100-pound woman, okay? For a little kindergartner, you might need less. Or if his hands are like stuck like this permanently because of cerebral palsy, you will need a whole lot more to fill in that gap. Or you could take a wooden block and put this at the end, if that's what floats your boat. But either way, sticky tack is great because it doesn't leave residue on the pages at all. Now, if you were to maybe, I don't know, smear this all over with a rolling pin, it might use some residue, but if you just press with your little hand, it's not going to leave the slightest bit of residue. So that means that you can use those school-issued textbooks without fear of damaging them. You can color in the same coloring books as your peers. You can even flip over worksheets and time tests. And it does take just a slightly bit longer to flip using this than with your fingers, but it would mean that he doesn't have to have people turn the pages in his coloring book or during his time test. Hello? And all those other things. He can also use it for other uses, like if he drops something on the floor. Now, let's say I am Joey, and I just dropped, let's say I'm me, actually. No, I'm Joey. Okay, I'm Joey. I'm Joey, and I find a random earring on the floor. And being a 6-year-old boy, I think it's shiny and kind of cool, and I just want to pick it up and maybe throw it at a girl. I don't know. That's what 6-year-olds do in my preschool, at least. So I have it sitting on the lovely carpeted floor. Hi, earring. And I want to pick it up, but I can't because my fingers just won't do it. I take my sticky tack. Got it. So Joey can use the sticky tack at home to pick up something he drops. He can use it on the playground if he sees an exceptionally cool pebble, or if he just wants to mold it because he's bored at recess, because right now Joey doesn't have a lot of friends, sad kid. He can mold it, and then that'll help build his muscle strength, or maybe he will decide to make little sculptures with it. Then that will really, really help with his fine motor coordination. Of course, that's really hard to sculpt with sticky tack. But if that happened to be Joey's interest and it keeps him busy, and it helps him work out those muscles, it can be quite therapeutic for a child with cerebral palsy. And that is about all that I have to say about these two particular assistive technology devices. But this is a 25-minute video at this point, so I'm sure you don't mind the video ending. Alright, anyway. Bye! No, maybe I should show you that other one. I'll show you the other one just for fun. Why not? Time to turn the iPad back on. This is a Spanish translation app. You might wonder why. Well, Joey's at some point in his little life going to be severely confused and need to be able to communicate. Now, what if he has a peer who doesn't speak any English at all? And little Joey, he needs to tell his peer, hey man, your pants ripped in the butt. Well, it's awkward to stammer through that in a language that you don't speak, which is what Joey would be doing right now. That really won't get him popularity points. But one thing that he can do is he can take his little iPad and use his translation app and say, your pants are ripped in the butt. And then it will translate in a very feminine voice, your pants ripped in the butt, in Spanish. This app was also about $2. So let's go to the app. Speak and Translate is its name. Give it just a minute to load. No thanks. Now, before I go on any further, this app is wonderful because it allows for some articulation errors. Really. So, when I tested this app, I tested stuttering, still worked. I tested repeated words, still worked. I tested some mispronunciations, it worked to an extent. The extent varies per sound and according to background noise, but overall, I found the translation to be 90% accurate. So we'll just do one sentence because this video might not email if I make it any larger. Okay. So I am Joey. You see here an American flag and a Spanish flag. I click the American flag and it will allow me to speak in English and it'll translate into Spanish. Your pants are ripped.
Los pantalones están rotas.
Wonderful. Embarrassment saved. So, another beautiful thing about this app is that it saves everything that you say in both English and in Spanish. The English shows up on the white stripes, and then the Spanish shows up in the blue stripes. So if his teachers are trying to figure out what conversation Joey just had with someone, or they just want to record his conversations. I don't know why teachers would do that. Well, I guess to check and see if he tattled on someone. Anyway, they could just read it, and it makes life a whole lot easier when you can read what the child said. And then you can also see what particular sounds he's struggling with, because you can look at the error patterns in the English that is typed. And so then you can see very clearly, oh, in 90% of trials, Joey got this sound correct. In 10%, he got the sound wrong. Or it could be the other way around, and in 90% of trials, Joey said the sound wrong. Oh, we should work on this sound more. And instead of just working on a speech class, we should also work on it in the classroom whenever possible. So it can be very, very useful for taking data. Anyway, I'm not even sure if this video will email because it's so large, but you have a great summer. Bye.